In today's tutorial, I am going to teach you how to crochet this cute little adorable heart. Hi, this is Katie and welcome to the Nodding Perch, where I like to talk and share all things crochet. So you ready? Let's go. For the heart, the supplies you will need is your favorite yarn. I am using I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. This is the light pink. And then for my hook size, I am using a size G, which is a 4mm. The yarn usually calls, this type of yarn usually calls for a hook size I, which is a 5.5mm. But I'm going to go down a 1.5 size of hooks to this 4mm because I want my hearts to be a little smaller and stiff so they can hold the shape better. Okay, so to get started, you're going to create your slip knot. Okay, and you're going to chain 4. Once you have your chain 4, you're going to slip stitch into that first chain, which is the 4th chain from the hook. So slip into that first chain that you made. Now you have a ring, and you see in the ring you have a center. Not this hole right here, because that's the chain that you went into, but if you open it up, you'll be able to see a center. We're going to work this round into the center part of our ring. So first we're going to chain 3. This chain 3 acts like our first double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets into that center space. There's 1. And there's 2. So you have your chain 3 and your 2 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 2 and we're going to do 3 double crochets back into that center. This is number 3. There you go. Now we have 2 clusters with the chain 2 in the middle. So to start your heart, this is going to be a side in the top, and then we're going to do it 2 more times so we get another side in the bottom. So chain 2, 3 more double crochets into that center. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3. We make 1 more cluster, so chain 2 and 3 more double crochet into that center. All right, let's finish this off by chain 2. And now we are going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 at the beginning. So I like to go right into the chain. I'm not a big fan of going into the space because I think it creates a gap in the work. So I do go right into the chain. If you can see that. All right, so slip stitch. There you go. Now you have the start of your square. Top, bottom, side, side. So now we're going to turn our work and we're going to work the next round on top of the round that we just did. So we're going to chain 3 and we're going to do 2 double crochets into that chain space. Remember that chain 3 we did acts like your first double crochet. Okay. Now we're going to chain 2 and put your next set of double crochets back into that same space. I'm going to do 3 double crochets back into that same chain space. Okay, so we just made our first corner. And now we're going to work along the side to the next corner. So in between the corners, we're going to do a chain 1. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets into that corner piece. Into that corner space, I should say. That's 1, 2, 3. And since this is our corner, we're going to do a chain 2 and do another 3 double crochets back into that chain space. There you go. Now we have 2 corners and we're going to make our way to the next corner. So in order to get there, we chain 1 and now we can do 3 double crochet into that chain space. We're going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into that corner chain space. All right, now we're going to chain 1 and 3 double crochet into the next corner. Chain 2, 3 more double crochets into the corner. Okay, that's our last corner. So now we have to chain 1 and we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. Okay, so there you go. So we're starting off with a little granny square, a little 2 round granny square. And now we're going to work on the top part of our heart. Where we're actually going to start here at the side, make our way down, then up the side and around. So we're going to turn our work, chain 1. We're going to do a single crochet into that first chain space. And we're going to single crochet into the next 3 double crochets. All right, and that brings us to the corner where we're going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to do what's called a picot. I used to call it a picket, but I learned it's actually a French word and you don't pronounce the T in it. So it's called a picot. You're going to chain 2. You're going to turn around just a little bit because you want to do a slip stitch into that first back bump from that first chain that you just did. All right, so slip stitch into that. And you slowly turn your work back around towards you. There you go. And then we're going to single crochet back into that chain space. That's going to be the sharp bottom of your heart. Now we're going to single crochet into the next 3 double crochets. Crochet into the chain space. I'm sorry, single crochet into the chain space. Single crochet into the next 3 double crochets. Okay, go ahead and single crochet into that corner, the chain space corner there. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to work 12 triple crochets into that chain space. We're going to skip these. We're not putting single crochets in these like we have been. We're skipping these and we're going straight to that center chain space. We're going to do 12 triple crochets. Some like to call them treble crochets. So we'll do 12 of them. To do that, you yarn over once and twice to get started. Insert your hook, yarn over and pull through. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You'll have 3 now. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. That leaves you with the last 2 remaining loops. And you finish the stitch by yarning over and pulling through last 2 loops. So that's 1. 2. That's 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the remaining triple crochets into the center space. So I have 12 altogether, and I'll meet you right back. Okay, I'm back and I have my 12 triple crochets into that space. So what we just did is made the first hump in the top of the heart. Next step is we are going to do a slip stitch into the corner space, that next chain space. And now we're going to do the second part, hump part of the heart, into this chain space here. So we're going to do 12 more triple crochets into that chain space. All right, and that's 3. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the 12, and I'll meet you right back here in just a moment. Okay, so I just finished making the 12 triple crochets into that chain space. Next step is we're going to do a single crochet into the next chain space, which is the corner, that little granny square. And then we're going to do a single crochet into the next 3 double crochets. And we're back to where we started. This was our chain 1 and our single crochet at the beginning of this round. So we're going to go ahead and fasten off here. What I like to do is I like to do my slip stitch, but instead of cutting it here and pulling it through, leaving a bump on the edge, I like to try to create as a straight up edge as I can. So what I do is I take my hook into the next stitch over from behind, poke it through, and then I loop this around my hook and I pull it back through towards the back like that. Okay, so let's cut this off, and I'm going to show you how I like to tuck in my ends when it comes to the heart. Okay, so we're going to trim off a little bit longer tail than normal. Pull it through. Let me show you the front and see. I think that looks pretty good on the edge there. It's not too noticeable. Okay, so let's flip it over and put on our darning needle. And all my projects at the end, I like to put a little knot in there just to make sure that everything stays safe and secure. Okay, so I'm going to go up the side just a little bit to hide that knot. You can't even see. Okay, so I'm going to work my way down towards the tip. Okay, I get to the end. That's the very tip of the heart right there at the back of the stitch. Stretch it out a little bit. Okay, and what I like to do is wrap it around that stitch and go back up the other way. This is my little trick I do too whenever I'm working on a project that has a sharp angle in the edge. I find that it really helps keeping that shape if I reinforce that line with the tail. Give it a little tug so it's not puckering up. And we're going to go back down. Don't forget to give your little tugs. You don't want to pucker. And that'll make this whole process here with the tail pointless. Okay, just bring it up through. So we went back and forth twice. Little tug. Let me trim that off. Okay. And there's your little heart. Isn't she cute? Just gotta play with it. Play around with it a little bit to get the shape you want, to have the stitches fall into place. And don't forget to tug in that back tail. But there is your cute little heart. I hope you have as much fun as I do making these. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I am not sure where this pattern came from. It is not mine. I will admit this is not my pattern. I did find a diagram, a random diagram, and it wasn't really complete. It was missing some steps, so I kind of filled in the blank spaces and was able to recreate it. So if anyone knows where the pattern came from, please go ahead, tag them make a comment so they can get credit for this cute little heart. As always, if you like and appreciate what you see, please, I would love your support. Give me a follow, and that way you'll be notified of my next videos. Thanks.